think I made a couple changes to like the volume, so I think it's gonna be easier to hear each other.
Hello.
Test.
Oh, dude,
that's
this is a vibe. All right. Well, shall we just jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to the first edition of the Wynn podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Oswald, and this is Jonni Lundy, my brother-in-law.
Hey there.
What's up?
It's great to be here. I'm so excited to be on the first episode.
Yes, sir. Yeah, your older sister and Marissa were giving you a hard time.
They were.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to push through the haters.
Block out the haters.
Haters gonna hate.
Mm-hmm. So, give me a background, bro. What do you do? How do you know me? Just
Yeah. So I married your older sister.
GG.
So thanks, babe. Represent. So I have been now almost 4 years deep into the Oswald family, which has been super fun.
Crazy.
Super fun. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. Went off to school in Southern California to finish my bachelor's, and then started working at a small but like global software company, and started at the very bottom, did an internship, and then have kind of worked my way up to middle management there. Mm-hmm. And we just recently moved back to Portland, and thankfully my job is remote now, so I'm still able to keep that job, and we're just settling in up there.
Yeah. You were, every time I walk past you, you're always on the phone.
Yep.
Or on a conference call or something.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that? Just always kind of...
I always go back and forth, to be honest. If I don't have... The meetings kind of provide structure a little bit, because work will be required for a meeting or will come after a meeting.
Can you turn down just a little bit? I hear this. Sorry, Johnny.
It's okay. Yeah, so it provides a little bit of structure, because I'll need to do work for meetings, or work will come out of meetings. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see people, especially now with COVID going on. I don't see people. Are you guys able to not play things out loud? Oh, okay.
Aubrey. Welcome to the Oswald family of 7.
That's part of the
kids. This is part of the package.
Oh, I love it.
No, but dude.
Yeah, but overall, I think deep down I hate meetings, and I always try to avoid them.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's a love-hate relationship, because you get to see people and you collaborate and stuff. So stuff. But it's definitely cool. I've had to do more the higher I am in the company. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of comes with it, I guess.
So since you're working remote, how long did it take you to build your dream desk setup? Or do you currently have your dream desk set up? Or is it still in the works?
Partially. It's come a long way.
Okay.
I've had a sit stand desk for since I was in college.
Yeah.
So that was probably the first step to I want to have a desk that I want to be at, and it's versatile and stuff. But then it wasn't until we went remote last March that I started exploring other things, getting a monitor, setting up some sort of webcam that's not just my computer.
Yep.
Cable management, mice and keyboard, and all it's a black hole of stuff you can do. But I think right now it's I think it's the dream desk for my budget.
Gotcha.
If I had like maybe another level of budget for it, then there'd be other things.
Yeah.
But like for where I'm at now, I'm like, there's nothing else I think in my price range that would make me more productive or happy, I guess.
I think that's where I'm at too.
Yeah. You have a sweet setup.
Yeah, I feel like I got a pretty sweet setup. It's just, it was so hard to find a desk that I liked.
Yes.
That was the hardest part.
Yes.
But I don't know, I got lucky in a sense because I built 2 IKEA desks. Like I had to like separately get pieces and things for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just hated it so much because it felt flimsy. And then I bought like a kitchen countertop one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't like the legs with it, and then I wasn't able to crank it or like bring it up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So like my solution was like a workbench.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Home Depot and got one of those Husky workbenches, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like $250.
That's not bad.
No. And it's real oak, and
Yeah.
it has a little crank that you can go up and down.
It's like super sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could transition it to like other purposes too, which I feel like a lot of office desks are like only office desks.
I think I'm like eventually going to get to that point where it's like I just buy a lot of like work like gear. Like I've become a Carhartt fan. Like I'm wearing Carhartt t-shirt, Carhartt pants, and then that like Husky like workbench where it's like you can store all your camera gear in it.
Like good materials.
Yeah, it's just solid.
Yeah.
Because it's stuff you buy from IKEA, or like you go like look for an office chair and you try to get like an Urban Miller and it's like $1,000 for a chair.
Yep.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
What do you do? How is your chair?
It's at IKEA. Yeah.
Bro.
But I got it for $150 off because it was like one of the display chairs, and they had it in like the like return.
Like already opened or whatever, like open box.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. IKEA has that one spot where it's like clearance.
Yeah.
Or it's like returns or show like things that they have in their showroom that they just have been used a little bit. But I like it. It's like not the best chair. I love how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like it kind of droops down. Like it's got a back pad, and if you sit on it, it'll just like slide down.
Oh yeah.
But what chair do you have?
I just actually got a Foley. It's a it's like it's really kind of hard to describe.
Is it the funky chair where it has like a back and then
like almost like a cross on the back kind of thing?
Oh, you
like
got one of those?
Yeah.
You spent like $800 on a chair?
I actually kind of similar to you. Like I got like a previously like returned or whatever, and I got like a great discount.
Does your company help pay for some of your things?
No, we're like newly remote as a company, so they're still kind of trying to figure out like what does that mean for perks. But I have a question though.
Oh snap!
How much do you think aesthetic in your desk setup translates to performance or productivity?
I think I really have the mindset where it's like, if I don't want to work at a cool like desk, my productivity goes down. So it's like that enjoyment of, I'm going to my really cool desk setup that I've spent a lot of hours in, like building, and I get to work there. And it's kind of like this, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like this feeling that you get. It's like, I've worked really hard on building this. So it's like everything's set. I can just come down and work because it like fits kind of my needs.
Yeah.
Because I do photography, videography, graphic design, and then I use it also as like a background too. So it has to be aesthetically pleasing. Yep. But minimal at the same time. Yeah. The next thing I think I need to change is my mic. I don't like my
the Yeti.
The Yeti.
Why don't you like it?
It's just big. Yeah, I don't like how big it is. And then it's a USB. I don't know. You have the same one, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't like sound good at times.
I've really struggled with how to like seamlessly integrate it into like a normal work week, because it's always like an extra thing that I don't like the video. Like we're getting into the weeds a little bit.
Yeah,
so
we are.
First of all, like have like external camera for your webcam is huge. It makes a huge difference.
Yep, you have a Canon
R6 or R5. I can't remember. The cheaper one.
Yeah.
The cheaper one.
Still overkill?
It's way overkill. She's like 4K raw, like log, whatever. And then I just like feed like, the lowest res into it just so it doesn't like bog down my internet. But like that part, like improving your video, you can see it. So there's a satisfaction to like, you see how you're looking and that like fuels me to like keep improving it. The audio, unless I record the call and then like replay it or I don't exactly know how it's coming to the end user, like the other people on the call or the recording,
how they're kind of interpreting the sound.
Like, is it that much better than my like headphones, like a headphone mic, And I've done some testing and it is, but it's like you said, like it's bulky enough and like kind of a nuisance. Like you have to have it close to your face.
It's kind of inconvenient to set up.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just don't know if it's worth it, I would love to get a shotgun mic that just is made to like capture straightforward, but like further away. So I can just mount it on my camera. Yeah. And it just gather from me, because right now I will put the mic, I'll actually put the mic right on the edge of my desk closest to me. Yeah. And I'll put my keyboard on the other side just because I've found out it sounds so much better when it's like right, like this. It's right next to my face.
The weird thing about the Blue Yeti is it has a bunch of settings, but the good setting that I like is like the one where it's just coming from like you're talking in one direction. Yep. Like it's that like circle with a triangle in it. Yep. And then you have to have
to be like right there.
Yeah. And then you have to have like the Blue Yeti logo like in front of you. Yep. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's the most convenient thing I could buy at the time. Yeah. But there's so many better options out for the price range that it's like, oh, the Blue Yeti, it's minimal and good, I guess.
One thing I haven't seen very often that would honestly probably work really well is like a lapel. It would be dorky. Oh,
it would be kind of dorky, but like...
You just like throw it on in the morning, hook it up, and then like you join a call, boom. It's like perfect right there. I'm just saying, maybe that's the next phase.
Maybe. That'd be...
I would not want to be seen with it though.
Yeah.
Like that would be too much, I think my setup is already too much. Like having a lapel, that's just like way too much.
I feel like people would just be like, dude, really?
Really, yeah.
No, but shotgun mic, I think that's like the next kind of step. Because I don't know, have you seen Peter McKinnon's desk setup? What he's got? But yeah, he has a shotgun mic, but it's mounted from the top down. And I love how setups look without mics, but you can tell that like the audio is amazing. Yep. So yeah, the minimal aesthetic.
Yeah, you can even do some like mid-call ASMR with, is it ASMR?
Ooh. Yeah, the little.
With like, maybe I can get it. Wait, there's like nothing left.
Oh, there it is. I did hear it. So, you have a Tesla.
I do.
I've driven it a few times.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's cool. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Because it's just too easy to drive, if that makes sense. Because it's like, maybe it's the sound too. It just feels like really luxurious and just like, I don't know. Maybe
like
I'm
too
just
smooth.
Maybe I'm at that stage where it's just like I need just like something that would just roar, like a V8 or something.
Roar.
Just I don't know.
And you might go to roar.
Yeah, just what's that song? Roar by
Katy Perry or something.
Yeah, it's like roar.
Roar.
Like when we rented the Tesla like performance model. Yeah. Like that was so sick. Yeah. It's just crazy to me how like fast something can go without making a sound. I know it's just electric.
Because we're like so used to basically the louder it is, like the faster it is, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
I think I'm just in that like douchebag stage of my life where I just need to hear like that that roar.
It's good that you're just like aware, like self-aware of just like what you need. Yeah. It's good.
Because I still have a little blue and I'm waiting to get something different. Yeah. A little truck or something. Because like this was annoying to pack all in this little car, and just something bigger where I can just throw everything in.
Yep.
But why do you like the Tesla so much? Why did you buy it?
Well, I mean, I think there was a couple different factors. One was like I'm totally just an early adopter, like by heart.
Yeah.
So I love like new things that are happening and like being able to actually try them out myself. Like I've always played around with the idea of being like a tech reviewer or something, because I love that. I do it without like producing any content on it. Like I love doing it, and I give, like, people will ask me like, oh, you have this now, like what do you think? And then I'll give them, like, I try to give like lots of good details and whatever. Yep. So that's like totally just part of who I am. I like that stuff. I really love tech, so I love the part of the car that's like evolving and is, you get the bare bones of what a car is, and we're so used to that staying the same for the whole life of the car. So like Big Blue hasn't really changed.
Sorry, Lil Blue.
Oh, Lil Blue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Goodness.
My bad. Lil Blue hasn't really changed since she was created.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like my Tesla has evolved and gotten better and improved and like gotten new features and adapted and like all that stuff. I've only had it for like a year, you know, which is like cool to me. It's just like cool that we can almost, it feels like the next phase of just cars in general, where it's like, oh, we can actually continue to like add more value the longer the car is like there existing.
Yeah.
And then
they don't really depreciate very quickly.
They don't. Like so full price for mine was like 40,000. And I could probably sell it for like 37 now, which is pretty crazy.
That's really good.
Like compared, if you were to buy,
and you bought it new.
Oh
wow.
Yeah. So if you bought like a, I don't know, BMW, the same amount, it would be like
the second you drive it off the lot, it's just $5,000.
Yeah, $5,000.
Yeah, out the door.
Yep. Then the last piece was like just the sustainability and even cost, like benefits of it, because most cars, it just feels like a money dump. Like you're just always putting money into fixing it up, keeping it alive, changing the oil, gas, like all that stuff. There's just always something to fix. Yeah. And I like the idea that there's just less parts to maintain. So you don't really have maintenance in the same way, and you save so much just on gas.
Isn't insurance cheaper too?
It can be, yeah, because it has a lot of safety features, like avoids accidents and stuff. So,
and in California and New York, it's a tax write-off for like something. Yeah,
we got like $6,000 back.
Wow.
Through incentives. So
that's solid.
Yeah, it's. I think if you're gonna get an electric car right now, it's hard to not get a Tesla. And this is actually the last reason and the most important, last one, I promise, is the supercharging network. So we've done multiple trips from like California to Portland, which is like 1,000 miles. And we can do that trip. It takes a couple extra hours because you have to charge and whatever. But if you did that on most other electric cars, if not all other electric cars, that would be like days, because the charging would be so slow and so sparse. Whereas Tesla has they knew that would be the biggest thing. And so they invested a ton on creating a really fast, and like their chargers are everywhere. And so it makes it so you can use it as a normal car.
It's too convenient.
Yeah. Like most of the electric cars, people will get them and then they'll get another car just because they know that their electric car can't do all that a car should do.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's silly to me. Yeah. It's silly to me.
The long distance.
Yeah. I love it, but not for everyone. Not for everyone.
I think I'll eventually like want one. Just like not. I think the main thing that's holding me back. Well, obviously I can't afford one. But like if I had the money, I don't think I'd buy one. Like I think I'd buy something different, just because it just wouldn't fit the needs that I'm looking for in a car. Like I love the fact that I don't have to pay for gas. No oil changes.
Doesn't have an engine.
Wow.
So nothing like timing belt, oil changes.
Wow.
Spark plugs, like none of that stuff.
True. Dang.
What about a Cybertruck though? Because I know you're looking at a truck.
Well, yeah, it's just because it doesn't feel like I could take a Tesla off-roading, but the Cybertruck would be really cool. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if I like the design completely. It looks a little too, what's it called when a company makes like a show car?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like their one little mock-up that they have.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that, where it doesn't look...
Like actually road ready.
Yeah. It just looks too futuristic for right now.
Yeah.
I love how it looks.
It'd be really...
It's so eye-catching, and I don't think I'd want to be riding down the road and everyone take a picture of it.
Yeah. It'd be nice to be like, I don't know, like year 2 or 3 of having one where it's like people are kind of used to it, you know?
Yeah, they're used to like someone riding it down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Dude, most car companies are saying like by 2035, like they're not even going to make non-electric cars anymore.
No, Ford came out with the electric Mustang. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
I feel like in 10 to 20 years, it will get to a point where it'll tip over where it'll start to become strange if you're buying a gas car. You know? It'll be a weird...
I feel like it's also going to be like, people will judge you off of it. Like, especially environmentalists. Well, I don't know if that's even the right term.
Oh, you still have a gas car?
Yeah, you have a gas car.
That's... Okay, if I can take it a little deep, deviation here. So this is a really, like... Because I think it's really important that we care about the environment. There's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of different opinions on that. I don't want to be like political on the podcast. But I think a big part of that project, I'll say, is we need to make it like economical. So for example, like buying a Tesla, that's not accessible to everyone.
Yeah. So
maybe let's say you want to have an electric car, partially for the environment. You want to reduce your carbon footprint, all this stuff. But at the same time, it's like, why are you going to... It's like there's less people than more people who can pay $40,000 for a car. Like that's not scalable to all of like a profitable country.
Yeah.
Like America, nonetheless like the world, you know? So I think once it becomes like it gets to that scale where it is accessible, we'll have to be careful not to become like
stingy and stuff.
Yeah. And like judgmental for like people still have a choice. And the point isn't to eradicate gas usage. It's just like maybe we shouldn't be using it as much as we do, you know? Yeah.
True. And it would just, I don't know, I feel like if Tesla came out with a truck or Ford or Chevy or something that like killed it, and a bunch of people in Texas in the South, like, because I feel like those are the people that are just going to be like, oh, electric, no. But if you make a product so good and it looks like a normal truck, but is better in feature, has more torque, has more miles, and just because a lot of people, especially down here, like own farms or are ranchers or something, and they buy the truck for a tax write-off. Yeah. Because they can use it as a work vehicle. Yeah. So if Tesla makes that and makes it kind of look like a modern day truck, but not super like spaceshipy, like I think that could work.
Reach a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Because trucks I feel like they kick up the most.
Yeah, they're like one of the least efficient. Actually, more commercial, like transportation, like semi trucks.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are the worst for like the environment.
Dude, I saw a TikTok and this guy was filling up his tank. It was like $600 worth of gas
for a truck.
Yeah, I was like, holy
crazy.
Crap.
And it probably doesn't last much longer than like Low Blue.
Then I was like, how on earth do I not pay for shipping when I do Amazon Prime and just pay like $100 every year? It's kind of nuts in my mind. So like, wow.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't really understand like how it all works, but it's nuts to me.
Yeah. I think they lost money long enough, like they were willing to lose money long enough where now it's become so essential to everyone that they can afford.
Yeah.
Like now they have enough people paying them.
Yeah, because you have to buy the truck, you have to pay the driver, you have to pay all the people that loaded it, the boxes, the shipping,
all the
gas,
materials,
the insurance, the tires.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
And they're the most profitable business in the world right now.
Yeah.
Nuts. All right. You want to wrap
Take
up
a little
part
break?
One? Yeah.
Part 1 done. Get ready for part 2.
Get ready for part 2. I'm going to get a hoodie on. It's
a little cold?
Yeah.
Test.
Oh. And we're back.
Part 2.
Part 2. I got my hoodie on.
It's a little chilly out here.
It's getting a little cold. I was just wearing it because, got promote the lift sole.
That's right.
Oh, man. Dang.
You out?
Yeah, I'm out, bro. All right. I'm just going to dive in.
Let's do it.
So, this is our, third, technically this is our first podcast. But we had 2 practice runs before this.
Yep.
And one was with a girl named Reagan, she's my friend / I'm dating her. We're in this weird phase of just she's not my girlfriend yet, but getting to know her.
Mm-hmm. Going on dates.
Yeah. And you gave me some solid advice because I feel like it kind of messed up and I made a move a little too early.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never been in kind of like a God-centered relationship, and I just don't know how to deal with it and go about it in a way that's honoring to God. Kind of being the man of the relationship is just how can I lead this and do this in a godly manner that is honoring to Him in a way. So you were able to hear my... So the moral of the story is I kissed her 3 weeks into knowing her. It was really impulsive. I had a lot of caffeine the night, but it doesn't give an excuse for it. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'd love to talk to you and know what your thoughts are about dating in your young 20s and how to lead in a godly manner. Because you did that with Marissa.
Tried.
Yeah.
A lot of failures too.
Did you have mentors?
I had a lot of mentors growing up, and then when we started dating, when we were both down in California, and we had just moved there, so I had a lot of friends, and then, but not necessarily mentors that were walking through that with me. I wanted them, but it was just kind of that stage of life. I hadn't met a lot of older men that were that person for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's so many different aspects of it. I guess I'll say that you're going to make mistakes. The goal isn't to not make mistakes as much as you do try to, you don't try to make unnecessary mistakes. Yeah. But you're going to make mistakes. It's a given. It's assumed, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's important to know how do you react personally to the mistakes. So, and then also how do you kind of, I guess, collaborate with that other person in that mistake. So are you humble about it? And oh, you guys are just going in the back seat. Okay.
The people watching are probably just what's going on?
Yeah. They're taking little blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I feel like this is where you succeeded in your mistake, which is you were humble about learning from it, you did something not meaning to make a mistake, but it turned out that this was something that she didn't want or didn't feel comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned that to you and brought it up, and you were humble in the way that you responded to that, because you could get really defensive. You could be, and maybe you did too, maybe it's a mixed bag, right? But like, I think ultimately it's more important how you react to mistakes and learn from them than just like, oh, well, I haven't made the mistakes. And I think it can become really legalistic. And I think that was something that I struggled with a lot in our relationship, is kind of like working too hard to make it look like a good relationship on the outside, rather than focusing on what will make this relationship thrive or honor God, or, you know, like love Marissa before we're married. Like, how can I achieve all those things? Kind of regardless if like I get, you know, like praised for it from other people. Like, I'd be like, oh, you have such a good relationship, you know, like that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because probably any relationship that you see that is like really good from the outside, there's always going to be cracks, right? There's always mistakes. And at least for me, I feel like it was really easy to focus on trying to look it more than trying to be it on a deep level. I mean, not that we didn't do that at all, but it's just like, I feel like it can become legalistic, you know?
Like when you said that, I feel like that's kind of like Christianity at the core too. Or it's like,
look the part.
Yeah. Or a lot of people try to look the part, but it's really what's going on within your soul.
Yeah.
That matters the most.
Yeah. Like we were talking about this on the way in, like, how when we tell people, like when we're at work or at school or wherever, and we tell people that we're Christians, it adds this pressure to be a certain way. Like, we don't want to make mistakes now because we said we're Christians. And then if we make a mistake, then we look bad, or then we make them think Christians aren't good or whatever. And we were just kind of like dialoguing about how we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's the reality, you know?
It's how you react to it.
Yeah, it's how you react to it.
And learn, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of maybe in that kind of like Christian culture, it's really easy to get caught up with looking, you know, like look a certain way or act a certain way instead of be a certain way.
That was deep.
Boom.
That was good. Clip it. Trevor, just timeline. Let's clip it. Oh, dude, that was solid. No, because I also mentioned this in the car, but we had a water heater guy come the other day to our house.
Yeah.
And he was the most cheerful guy I've ever like seen. Like just kind of just like working kind of like almost a mediocre job. Like he got it going. And he's like, "Who's the man? Jesus is the man." And just like this really upbeat, like he even like was upbeat and like his personality, and like you could tell there was a light in him before he even like mentioned that.
Yep.
You know, Jesus is the man. Obviously, he's probably a Christian. For saying that, and it's just like, oh wow, I want that to be how other people look almost at me, like telling, oh wow, this guy's like really upbeat, cheerful, and just like it's like really like cool, not cool, but just a humble guy who's just always like in this good spirit. And it's like, oh, you found out he's Christian, that's why.
Yes.
Kind of like Christ is the center of that.
Yes. Yeah, it's easy to want to, like, okay, we need to, like, evangelize or tell people about Jesus. It's not like a bad desire at all, but sometimes we put, what's that phrase? Like, put the cart in front of the horse. Is that a thing? Like, you get ahead of yourself, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like you just like, like that's like something our parents would say or something.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, get focused on just the fact of like telling someone about the fact that you're Christian or who Jesus is or whatever, telling them the gospel, and not focusing on who are you around that person. Like, are you a genuine Jesus follower with that person? And I guess tying back to the relationship too, it's the same thing, right? Like, you can be focused on, oh, well, our relationship needs to be, you know, you have these principles and like, again, really good, like good to have a backbone and a foundation and everything. but at the end of the day, you can have, you know, a great principle of, oh, we always like, I don't know, we always go to church together. Like that's a really, you know, it's a stake in the sand. It doesn't budge. You know, that's something we do together, and we'll never change that. You know, and then like you can be like out of control, losing your anger with each other. You know, and like, how does that? Is it really better? You know, or maybe you are figuring out church and you're trying to like sort through what that is, and you're maybe struggling with it, but in the end, you're like, every day you're trying to love each other and you're trying to honor each other and respect each other. And I would argue that that's better. Yeah. Just like genuine.
You know? I would feel the same as well. Because I don't know. I listened to this guy who's not even a Christian. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like this entrepreneur guy. And he's like, don't give an F what other people think of you. Which it's kind of like almost, it's not the same, but it's kind of like that motto. It's just like, it doesn't matter what other people think of you, whether you're in church, but at the same time, you want other people to notice that you're different because you're Christian. Yeah. So it's that balance of you should care, but not in a worldly sense. Like, yo, I drive the newest car. I have the freshest clothes. Stuff like that. Worldly things. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're supposed to be holy, like set apart. So we're supposed to be different. Yeah. But we're not supposed to be prestigious. Like you think of Jesus, he was very different, and he was kind of unashamedly so. Like he was just like, this is, you know, who I am. Like, come follow me. Yeah, your call. Like I have this great thing for you. Come on, let's do it. You're gonna have to give up everything, but let's do it. You know, and but at the same time, he was so accessible. Like it wasn't him setting himself apart for the sake of him being above people and like having better clothes, having better cars, having a better looking life, but rather set apart in a way that calls people to a better life, not in the material sense, but in the like a true life sense, like with God, you know? Yeah. And it's really hard to split those a lot of times.
Yeah. What's that Bible verse where it's like, it's easier for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to go through the eye of a needle? Yeah. Yeah. Where it's kind of like that motto. It's just like, Jesus also like mentioned to someone, I forgot where it is, but it's like, come follow me, to like this really wealthy man. Yeah. And he just couldn't.
Yeah. He was like sad. Yeah. He like knew he was like, he like knew he wanted it, but he knew he had too much to lose. It's just scary, honestly. Yeah. Because we're so prosperous. And sometimes I wonder, how much are we that without even knowing it, you know? Yeah. Like how many times is God calling us to something, and then we end up actually saying no? Maybe it's not so clear like that, where he's like in our face and he's like, come do this. And we're like, no, I have too much money or something, you know? Yeah. But what are those like little moments where we're like, oh no, I'm not gonna like help this person because I have this other obligation that I don't know. I don't know what a good like example would be, like, but
no, I'm not going to go downtown and like help the homeless today because I have this huge business meeting that I'm going to make a huge profit off of. Yeah. Or I don't know. I don't know, even something like that dramatic where it's like you're putting money in front of people. Yeah. 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 I have a coworker that he just has a really like big heart to serve, and he's been on different mission trips, and he grew up in LA, and then he moved to Chicago and lives by I don't know, the university downtown. Oh, so he lives like
Chicago?
In University of Chicago?
Is that, yeah, I think that's the like main one there. And they like have like a campus ministry, and they like have a little church there that they try to reach out to the students there. And he's always like sacrificed work things for that ministry. And it's always, it's like a little bit of a weird dynamic, to be honest. Like I've struggled with it a lot, because there's different times where other people have to work late because he's out doing ministry. You know, like there's different times he's not available or missed obligations or whatever, because that's a higher priority to him. And then coming from the other side where I'm like, work is so important and I like work really hard to all this stuff. And there's been times where I'm on the other side of that, and I'm kind of like, dude, like you let us down.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I realize like how many times have I said no to those things, like to ministry or to helping someone or serving someone or just being there for someone, because I'm like, oh, I have this important job and I need to be there, you know? So
it's kind of like having that perspective of like what is going to impact someone the most, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, will this project impact people the most, or me showing up to this where maybe God will put me in front of someone who needs it?
Yeah.
Help them most.
Like you've said multiple times in the last week, like just being available. Like I feel like that's so important. Not filling our lives with like distractions or busyness or whatever, and being available for what he has for us.
I think I'm pissing people off just slightly because I'm just not. Well, okay. I don't do Google Calendar. I don't really have a calendar anymore.
Oh yeah.
But I love having a calendar, like knowing exactly. Well, I do. I just don't like schedule it out to every single minute like I did when I was in school.
Yeah.
But like sometimes like I'll miss something. But then at the same time, it's like if I went to that wouldn't have been available for this. That like important phone call that one friend needs me, or this young adults ministry that I'm involved in. Like, what's the higher priority for you? Is it like sticking to a schedule and making that meeting? Or is it maybe my friend calls me and he just really needs to vent to me, and it's going to like help him in the long run to maybe get his heart right so that he can do something for the ministry or for God, or just this is for avenue of just like, I feel like I'm in this really good spot in life where I feel like I'm kind of emotionally stable to kind of help people go maybe in a direction that they want to. Like I feel like I'm a pretty good listener. And some people just like to work out their problems and stuff and just have someone listen. Yeah. Like Reagan, like 2 nights ago, we have this spot at the Domain where we can climb over this parking garage like thing. Like it's like a stairwell, and then there's a gate we can climb over and then get to like this apartment complex that has a really nice like rooftop. And she's at this transitional phase where she's like not in school, but not where she wants to be at a full-time job. Because she wants to be a worship leader, but in some type of capacity where she feels called. Yeah. And we just had like an hour or 2 hour talk of just like, she just kind of like laid it all down. Just like, I don't know how to get to it. I don't know kind of like where God's leading me, but I could tell that it really helped her just having someone listen and say, it's okay to not know exactly what you're doing at this moment. Because I feel like if you're not in college, people always ask like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Because they think maybe you're a loser not going to college, because that's kind of like the next step. But I feel like this past like decade, where it's like you can do a lot of things without a college degree. And now since college is so high, it may be smarter in some sense if your goal doesn't require a degree not to go to college. Like in the first place, like I wish that I wouldn't have gone to college in the sense because of the loans, but in the same sense, that's where I found my passion. That's where I found a lot of connections and family and community. So it's this thing where it's like you kind of got to weigh the options when you're 17, 18, 19, which is really hard.
It's like so early. Yeah.
I had no idea what I was supposed to do at 18. I was just my dad.
I know. It feels like a little bit of a rigged system, I guess, that you have to make such a huge commitment financially and life trajectory. Like even deciding on a major, you're like, most people don't go back to school. So like, this is what I got, and you can obviously build skills and experience and everything. But I had a thought on like what you were mentioning of being available, but then also like maybe some people there's like a downside of that. You know, like maybe being available is like being flaky for some like responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, like, because I've thought about this a lot in terms of like my work responsibilities and my like family home responsibilities. And a lot of times just the nature of my job is like I can get called into like emergencies at kind of any time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So like even the other day we were going to hang out with like my sister and her family, and then last minute we were like, Marissa and I are out on a date, get a call, okay, there's this stuff going down, we have to go back home. And then ultimately like I am at home working for a couple hours helping to fix it while she like goes and hangs out with the family.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, oh, is that a good thing? Is that like me selling out? Is that me like just getting pulled into the corporate whatever? Or is that me being like dependable and reliable at work, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess one thing I've felt can like help with that balance is be dependable as much as you can to whatever areas of life you commit to. So like, especially if you get married, have kids, like you're committing to that, right? You're committing to be available to them and be there with them, and you want to, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so that's a commitment. And then you have like, oh, I need to work, I need to provide. So that's a commitment. And then maybe you have like ministry and you're like, okay, I'm saying I'm going to be there for these things or these people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And probably all of them can exist to some level, and then they start to like fight for that time, you know? And so being dependable with the basic things on all of them allows a little bit more slack when you need it. So for example, there's some times where I'll get called into something that's not an emergency after work, and I don't want to do it, but I have nothing else going on. So like I could be there for them for those moments where it doesn't cost me as much in those other responsibilities. And then it allows me, like I've been there for them in those moments. So then in the times where I'm like, hey, I actually need to like leave early today because I have, you know, like Marissa had a really hard day at work and she needs to talk or something, or whoever, then I can do that because I've already like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. Like,
you kind
I
of
don't have like
established
debt, like, or almost like commitment debt, you know? Like I haven't built a commitment debt with them where it's like, if I ask for more, it's like, you're already on the edge, you know? I've gone above and beyond in the times that I can when I'm not giving up another responsibility. And then that makes it so I have more flexibility in those different times. Or I can move a meeting around because, you know, someone calls me all of a sudden or that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. That's a good way of like thinking about it. It's like you've already established that you're very dependable at your work, and when something important comes up, they know that it's important because you don't flake.
Yeah.
Like working at Starbucks for so long and being a manager, it's just like you know those people that it's just like, oh, they're calling in because they just don't want to come to work.
Totally.
But then you know those people who never call in. Yeah. It's just like, oh crap, if
they do call in,
it's
you're like,
serious.
Yeah, you take it. You know? Yeah.
And I feel like establishing trust with your coworkers and just people around you is just a really key factor in. Yeah. Just a really key factor. Yeah.
And I mean, for your witness too, right? Like,
they
see that and they're like, oh, he just kind of flakes, or he doesn't really fall through, or he's never really there in like those crucial moments or whatever. And like, but then he goes to church and he does all this stuff, and you're like, what does that communicate? You know? Or he's like, man, he's doing all these things, but he's like, I can always rely on him. You know?
Solid.
Yeah.
Well, bro.
Should we close it there?
Yeah. I think that's a good ending.
This is the best, dude.
Dude, I feel like we're at this point where it's like, okay, we've got through all the bugs and like, this is solid. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks. Hope you enjoyed. What is it? Peace and love? Is that the
peace and love, baby? So I watched this streamer called Nick Merckx, and he does that every time.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, baby. But yeah. See you guys next one. Mic drop.